What do you get when you combine a true passion for hunting, a God-given talent, and a lifestyle designed to blend your loves into a career that feeds your life's passion? I'd suggest that you have a perfect description of our friend Josh Spies, a dedicated big game hunter and one of the world's most talented and recognized wildlife artists. Among the impressive accomplishments on his resume, Josh has been selected as the Dallas Safari Club Artist of the Year, the 2011 Safari Club International Conservation Artist of the Year, and the winner of the 76th Annual Federal Duck Stamp Competition, the largest wildlife art competition in the world. Josh Spies looks to his days afield as inspiration for his art. And on today's show, the wild and untamed canvas for adventure is the Yukon, one of my personal favorite destinations for a true wilderness hunting experience. Today, join us in the mountains of the Yukon as we open the pages of Trijicon's World of Sports Afield.
Trijicon's World of Sports Afield is presented by Trijicon, Brilliant Aiming Solutions, DSC, the Dallas Safari Club, Ruger Firearms, Hornady Manufacturing, Accurate, Deadly, Dependable, the Wildlife Gallery Custom Taxidermy Studio, Zeiss Sport Optics, Boyd Harness Company, Cannon Safes, nothing protects like a cannon, the Wild Sheep Foundation,
and Les Chameaux, the best boots money can buy.
I've been planning this trip for like 5 years. This is something I've always wanted to do. Come up to the Yukon and hunt with Jim and Adrian Fink of Blackstone Outfitters for a Canadian Yukon moose and a fan and ram and also a grizzly bear. On a charter flight from Whitehorse to Jim and Adrian's airstrip out here at the main camp. Truly was exciting when you get off the plane and you can get the smell of the air and you know you finally arrived and to just an enormous area with so much potential. Right away when we got to camp, we kind of unloaded our bags and they immediately wanted to get us out to the rifle range to sight in our rifles. And so we sat up and sighted in my 300 with the Trijicon scope on it, and it was right on, so I knew we were ready to go.
Great shot. We just came up, got in about 10 o'clock this morning up here at Blackstone Outfitters, and we're getting ready to go on our great adventure. We're first going to try to go after a fan and ram, and pretty excited about it. So we got about a 40-minute flight out to the area we're going to be backpacking in, so it should be a good adventure.
As Jim was flying us into our sheep camp, I knew it was going to be one heck of an amazing time. We landed in this remote area, and it was going to be a backpack hunt. Jim and Adrian's son Logan was our guide, and Lucas our wrangler. When we landed where we were going to set up our spike camp, we basically had to walk about a mile, and from there we had a creek running by, and we were ready to set up.
Okay, I think tomorrow we'll just go set up camp here, and then in the morning we'll hike up on that little ridge, and we'll just kind of go up on the ridge line, poke our way along, and just see if we can see something, get on top, just take our time and see how that goes. And then once we're on top, it's all easy going, so
Cool, sounds good. You know what, we got to the end of the first day. We're up in the Nahonee Mountains and getting ready for our sheep hunt. And hunting's in September, so during the day it gets 65, 70 degrees, but in the evenings you're down to about 30 degrees. And greatest thing in the world I found is this white jacket that actually fits inside this little pouch here. And it's awesome. Keeps you warm and just easy like that. But anyways, we're gonna probably take a little nap and get ready to go in the morning.
Our mountain adventure from the wild Yukon begins when Trijicon's World of Sports Afield returns. The Hunting Tradition, brought to you by Dallas Safari Club.
I'm Diana Rupp, Editor-in-Chief of Sports Afield magazine, with this week's installment of The Hunting Tradition. In 1974, 13 wild sheep enthusiasts were swapping stories on a November weekend in Wisconsin about their encounters with these majestic mountain creatures. After realizing how fortunate they were to have all shared such experiences, they decided it was time to give something back, and they formed an organization to support the conservation and positive management of wild sheep. The group was incorporated as a nonprofit organization in 1977 as the Foundation for North American Wild Sheep. Today it is known as the Wild Sheep Foundation, and its mission is to enhance wild sheep populations, promote professional wildlife management, educate the public about wild sheep and the conservation benefits of hunting, encourage fair chase hunting, and protect the rights of hunters. Last year, the Foundation funded $2.8 million in conservation, education, research, and advocacy programs. They also provided money for habitat acquisition, as well as research into diseases affecting the wild sheep. The Foundation also supported international wild sheep programs in mid-Asia, as well as youth education initiatives. Every year, the special sheep tags auctioned off by the Wild Sheep Foundation are a major source of the money raised for conservation of the wild sheep. In 2010 alone, the sale of special permits to sheep hunters generated almost $2.5 million that will go to conservation programs to protect and conserve the wildlife of the world's mountains. You can learn more about the hunting tradition in every issue of Sports Afield magazine and at sportsafield.com.
This is the morning of day one. Looks like a nice day. Should be fun. Won't have any trouble seeing anything. So we'll hike up there and check it out.
See if we can spot us a Dall sheep.
The quest for wild sheep is a unique one. To access his high country home, you'll have to be committed, both physically and mentally. You do not arrive in sheep pastures, you earn them. Sweat and boot leather will both evaporate during your ascent. You'll often grind your way to a lofty vantage point only to set cold and uncomfortable with no sheep in view, as you ponder a repeat performance on another mountain the following day. You'll have your patience and your endurance tested in this game, yet the mental image of golden horns in your hands pushes you onward toward the unseen prize.
Okay, so we just crested this hill, and me and Lucas kind of just poked over, and we spotted some rams just on a far ridge over here, and there's 12 of them, but here they're just dots, but to the spotting scope we can kind of tell that at least one of them looks like a ram. So from here, if he looks like a ram, he should be a pretty decent sheep.
We're a couple miles away.
But we're a few miles away.
Yeah, I might wait a little bit and then kind of start meandering around there a little bit, and
Yeah.
depending on the wind.
Take a little hike and see if we can get closer and get a better look. See if there's a shooter in the group.
Sheep trail. I mean, for years they've been walking along that and digging that out. We're gonna follow that down and around.
We're just gonna follow the sheep trail up and around, and it's a lot better going than just hiking on the rocks. You don't slide in here as much. The sheep know the best way to go, so we'll follow them. The sheep that we originally saw on this ridge line over here, a couple miles, are pretty sure they're ewes and lambs. But then over here, what's that, about a mile and a half away, a long ways, we found one lone sheep, and it looks like it's got it. We don't know if it's a ewe or a ram, but put its head down. And there's only one there, so I don't know if there's any on the other side. So we're just kind of laying here and enjoying the weather and checking it out and see what happens.
Not only do we already know we were going to have an awesome time on this hunt, that very first day when we hiked up, and you know, I thought I was in pretty good shape, but following Logan and Lucas up the mountain was something else. So when we got to the top of the ridge, we were able to look over and we saw, I think, 3 different groups of sheep. And, nothing really to go after that first day, but we knew that the opportunity was going to present itself, so we were really excited about it.
Josh Spies continues his quest for sheep in the beautiful mountains of the Yukon when Trijicon's World of Sports Afield returns.
It's day 2. We decided to pick up camp, and we're going to move to another new spot, kind of a little bit further away from here, and hopefully we have some luck. But it's going to be kind of a long hike to our new camp, so it'll take us a few hours to do that.
On day 2, we decided to climb over the top of this great big saddle up in the mountains, and we were going to make camp down off the other side because we'd seen some sheep out in the distance. And when we got to the saddle, we sat down and actually we spotted a group of rams, and it wasn't a small group. I think there was probably a dozen of them.
Okay, so I just crested over this hill here with our backs on and moving camp, and come over the hill, and there's a little ridge down there. And we spotted some rams down there. All the ones I can see are only about 1/2 and 3/4 curl. They're not legal. What to do? So we'll kind of go around here and down, and stay down here, and go down that drainage and drop our stuff. And then we're gonna hike up that mountain and go along and try to get above them. So that's the plan so far.
Yeah, somebody might get hurt today.
When we began our stalk after the rams, we started climbing up a pretty steep area, and our original plan came to a halt when we kind of came around this ridge line, and one of the rams had kind of popped his head up over this skyline area. We weren't able to go that route, and even though the rams were a good 700 yards away, they have such incredible vision that we knew if we kept going the route we were going, we would get busted.
We found the rams, but can Josh Spies close the distance? Find out next when Trijicon's World of Sports Afield returns. And now, inside the hunt, Brought to you by Hornady.
Doesn't really matter where you're hunting, your footwear is extremely important. I tell you what, if you get blisters or your feet get sore, you're just not going to be able to get out there and do what you need to do. So it's really important that you have the right footwear. The right footwear means, first of all, footwear that fits, but second, footwear that's properly suited to the conditions. In Africa, I tend to wear these Les Chameaux Global Trackers. They're light, they're comfortable, they're quiet, they've got a good soft sole. They're just perfect for African hunting on relatively level ground or maybe mild hills. Heck, I wear them around home for pig hunting and, you know, fairly casual hunting. But now on serious hunts, like up in the high mountains, two of my new best friends are these Mouflon boots from Les Chameaux. They fit like gloves. They were really comfortable from absolutely the first day. And, you know, I wore them on a couple of sheep hunts now, and the rocks, they've got a good aggressive sole where they'll give you a good grip. They've got great support for the ankle. They're just a quality pair of boots, completely waterproof, well sealed with Gore-Tex lining. Les Chameaux Mouflon is just a fantastic choice for really serious hunting in extremely difficult terrain. But obviously, they're a lot heavier than a global tracker like this, and because they have a more aggressive sole, they're also going to be a little bit noisier. So make sure that you have enough boot for the hunting you're going to do, but make sure you don't have too much boot.
This segment is brought to you by Cannon Safes. Nothing protects like a cannon.
They're just a mix, everything. That's cool. Let's look at everything in there. So I'll drop down here and just come up. There's that little saddle there. We'll just kind of poke over and get the spines go up. You can see real good. We've been pursuing a band of rams since noon this morning, and there's a couple good ones in there we're trying to get a good look at, and we're just going to follow this ridge here and get up high and see if we can't get a little better look at them.
In the position that we were in, 3 small rams kind of mingling around, and we knew where we were at. If we moved, that they would immediately see us and we'd be busted. So we kind of decided to back out as quietly as we possibly could and get into another position. And out of the corner of my eye, I noticed 3 rams kind of working up this other ridge line, separating from the group. Once we decided which ram we were going to take, we got into a good position to make a shot.
Okay, he's the bottom one. Take him.
The ram was more than I could have ever hoped for. Just a beautiful fanon. He had beautiful color, 10 and a half years old. Just everything I could have ever hoped for and more.
Long stock, long shot. He's got beautiful color, and he ain't a monster, but he's mine, and I couldn't be any more excited. We spotted some rams this morning and put on one heck of a hike, and came up and around, and man, I mean, it was something else. So it couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's one of those days where you look back at the beginning of the day and you think about waking up and it feels like yesterday. So it's kind of neat to have it all compacted in one day.
Yeah, it was beautiful weather and a beautiful stalk and one beautiful ram.
As the days ticked off on Josh's wilderness adventure, the Yukon rewarded his efforts with other opportunities. A beautiful mountain grizzly, truly the symbol of untamed wilderness, came to bag one clear mountain morning. Late in the hunt, after descending the mountain, a big bull moose roaming the valley floor put the exclamation point on one of the most rewarding hunts of Josh Spies' hunting career.
There's one other ram that was legal. This one was definitely bad. He comes like that far above the bridge. Oh yeah.
As his bush plane lifted him above the rugged landscape, Josh knew he had found the inspiration he had sought from this wild country, and the plans for reliving it on canvas were already taking shape.
This truly has been one heck of an adventure. It's more than I could have ever dreamed and hoped for. I'm going to come out of this trip with many painting projects to work on, and talking with Jim and Adrian already, planning on coming back on another trip, hopefully next year or so, and definitely shoot hopefully a mountain caribou and another moose, and if the opportunity comes up, another ram, because I really like that.
Trijicon's World of Sports Afield has been brought to you by Trijicon, Brilliant Aiming Solutions, DSC, the Dallas Safari Club, Ruger Firearms, Hornady Manufacturing, Accurate, Deadly, Dependable, the Wildlife Gallery Custom Taxidermy Studio, Zeiss Sport Optics, Boyd Harness Company, Cannon Safes, nothing protects like a cannon, the Wild Sheep Foundation,
and Les Chameaux, the best boots money can buy.
Closed captioning provided by Getting Involved, a guide to hunting and conservation for kids.